still has to happen. So here it comes. We talked about taking some profits on some of these names as well. So let's wait to see if Facebook dips down. Look at the NASDAQ coming to the downside here. So that's a little bit of a worry for Snapchat, but Snapchat not open and we're still in the money on it. So whatever, let's wait to see where it goes. It's printing 31, 32s, 33s. We need to get this thing open. It's a nice little win for us here. And there goes EDU, baby. Let's go on EDU. The diamond hands coming into play right now. This is not even open yet, and it's Rip City on EDU, baby.
And socket, that's what we're talking about. Power it up, guys. We talked about the 930 rollover. Yeah, it's already at 13 bucks. I'll see if I can't get some more shares out here at 13.20. You're gonna see that one come down. I just tried to average into that pop on the EDU because, like, give me a break. I'm only gonna go short side on that trade. But socket, a big time mover. Neuro, not so much. But watch out for NRXP. Someone's asking in the chat, is it too late to get into the open? I said short the pop. So now here is the pop on NRXP, right into these levels here at 22. That's also VWAP, but I don't care too much about VWAP. I'm the short right around here just because it's that little cluster. So NRXP, no halts, but if it does look like it's going to halt, I would cover the short. I mean, I never hold into halts if I can avoid it.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Bang with Snapchat. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Snapchat up to $76 right now. Wow. Okay, Snapchat. Wow. We talked about this. We showed the clips, man. Congratulations, anybody in this name, as Snapchat just continues to rip up, guys. Look at these wins, man. Facebook, 50 cents. EDU, 60 cents. Snapchat, $1 and change on this day. 74 long. Are you kidding me? We just got that out at 75.50, and we still continue to run to the high side right now. Man, oops, Brittany. But guess what? We did it one more time. We did it again and again and again. So there it goes. Snapchat to the high side. Wow. We're out of half of that. Let's get out of one more spot right now. Big time mover for Snapchat. That even took me by surprise, guys. This is how we're doing it every single day on the show. Let's go. And we'll do the Bitcoin because we're going to say, let's go. Big move for Snapchat. Put it on the board, Neil. Let's go.
Yeah, we just talked about NRXP rollover. Yeah, you got to be real quick about these things. 22, already back at 21.50. Now we're in the money, $2, approaching lows. This thing, if it's going to halt down, I'm holding through a halt now. $3 in the money on NRXP. It was a long breakout. It was a short break 20. It was a 930 rollover. It was everything you could ask for and more. I kind of thought we might hold into 19. What is with these halt rules, man? You're going to tell me you go from 22 to 19 in 2 minutes on the downside? Brendo, what's up, brother?
Neil, guys, NIO even getting...
Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another stream. We are back, and yeah, we're gonna see what we do today with the market. So right now we're looking at the Nasdaq 100. Excuse me, the Dow 30, and it looks like it's kind of been holding this level right over here. So we'll see what we do there. The Nasdaq right now is already kind of falling toward the downside, so we'll kind of check that out and see what we do there. That's pretty much it, though. I did take a trade on Bitcoin yesterday, so that was last night. So I stayed up like around maybe midnight, just watching that Bitcoin setup, and I took it, made about like 1%, or half a percent on that. So let me show you real quick on that. So, oh, I like that. I like how the Dow's giving me this. All right, never mind. But anyway, so I was trading Bitcoin last night, just basically a quick trade, and it looks like Bitcoin didn't really even recover last night for that move, initial move yesterday. But I was looking at it, and I knew that it was a possibility that we're going to come up, just to bounce off that 50 on the 5-minute with initial level 1 right over here, right? And we had to bounce on a daily pivot, which I'm adding something to my system now, just for better confluence. I'm also in the back end today. This whole week I've just been really busy, so I've been kind of creating new systems in my head, just for my course, and then just of course testing them. So I've come up with different systems that I think it will be very good tools for especially my system, and as well as just different kind of systems to trade on different market scenarios. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to show that. But again, with Fibonacci's, I think Fibonacci's are they're not like something that, you know, oh, just because it's bouncing off of Fibonacci's you take that trade. No, that's not really what the Fibonacci is made for. It's just made for a tool to kind of tell you when to get out, like kind of give you a confidence on when to get out, or, you know, giving you, okay, we may see a pullback here. So I'm adding the Fibonacci to my system because it's a good tool. It's not something that just because it's bouncing off a Fibonacci level I'm going to take the trade. Nope. It's just something that I do like. You know, just basically because I trade a pullback and breakout system, so it fits really well with it. As well as the daily pivots. The daily pivots gives you a better scenario of you know, of like where price action might go in the future, right? So you know, the daily pivot, if price is above the daily pivot, you're going to see kind of a more confluence over the upside. So, you know, when it's essentially, if price action is above the daily pivot, you're going to be looking for longs, right? And if the price action is below the daily pivot, you're going to be looking for shorts. So I do like the daily pivot because it's just it kind of gives you kind of a market more of a market direction with the liquid 50. So it's more of a confluence tool, right? And, you know, you can also take bounces off the daily pivot. And daily pivot is something that, you know, it's from previous price action. It's subtracting the high vs low, vs the previous pivot point. So the daily pivot is, you know, it's not like a pivot where it's like, oh, just because it's like how would I say, like it's like a zone or something like that. It's essentially just like price action, previous price action, resistance, and support levels, right? So so yeah, I mean, I like the daily pivot with my system. It works really well, and it gives you kind of more of, again, like a confluence. So, you know, you can see here that price action was below the daily pivot. We saw the sells, below, sells, below. Essentially, we just get some sells here in Bitcoin, and then we kind of rebounded over here, and then here, you know, you can see how price action kind of bounced off that pivot point and came all the way down. Same here, just bounce, came all the way down, you know, and then you can essentially try taking a bounce trade right over here. So, I mean, I like the daily pivot on just kind of just the bounces off the daily pivot as well as the market direction. So yeah, I mean, it fits really well with it. But anyway, so I mean, I took a trade on Bitcoin last night, just to bounce off the primary level 1, and yeah, I took a long right over here, and yeah, I mean, it was off the Fibonacci level, initial bounce from the daily pivot, and, you know, initial level 1, primary level 1. So I like that, so I took that, and, you know, essentially gave me about 2.24R. I did get in a little bit late, so essentially I would have gone about a little bit more than 3R, but you know, I got in a little bit late, and the spread on Bitcoin, it sucks, to be honest. At least on most brokers, the spread on Bitcoin is not going to be very it's not going to be very good. So I mean, you know, my spread was essentially about it was essentially, I believe like it was like $10, something like that. So it was a little bit of a bigger spread. But yeah, I mean, I took that last night, and then I basically just went to sleep once it hit take profit. So excuse me. So I mean, on Dow Jones, so I mean, we saw such a beautiful recovery. You know, we had a market drop on Monday, which this entry literally went about 58R, which I think is pretty cool. This is the initial entry that I took. I didn't take I didn't take anything on the Nasdaq on Friday, but I did take shorts on the Dow. But from this initial entry, it made 58.46R, which I think is freaking nuts, right? You can see how it breaks through toward the 50. And it's just, you know, from Friday's kind of action and excuse me, on Monday as well, you can see how, man, I'm losing it today. I've been sick this whole week, so I've been feeling like shit. But anyway, so it just went all the way down here. So I mean, that's just a beautiful beautiful sell-off right there. And eventually we did kind of rebound. So I took some rebound trades. I didn't take this rebound trade, even though this was a really good rebound trade. This is like basically the bottom of the move, but I wasn't able to catch that. I did take a short here on the market on like the nightly session. Took a short there, and then I failed to take a long. I don't think I took a long. Maybe I did. All my entries kind of disappear whenever I refresh on TradingView, so I couldn't really see the entries unless I look back in my trade journal. But I did catch a long, I believe, on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, right over here, and essentially, I mean, it was went all the way up on Thursday. I mean, not Thursday, on Wednesday. Wednesday action was pretty choppy. So I mean, we saw like a sell off right over here, and then we saw a bounce. I didn't take that bounce, but yesterday was pretty choppy. I mean, we did see kind of a bounce right over here, but it was kind of choppy compared to the other days today. So I think I did manage to just get out of a trade yesterday on break even. But yesterday was kind of a little bit choppy. So was the day prior. It wasn't that much volatility as we saw on the previous days. But you can see just kind of a nice kind of bounce and reverse back toward the upside on Dow. So we're essentially almost back toward the high right over here, right? So big sell-off, and then just a big kind of reversal on this week. So it's nice. Just tells me that, I mean, people are still willing to buy the dip as much as possible, even though like yesterday on last week's move it was kind of exaggerated. Right? We saw just a big massive sell-off on Dow Jones, which for me, that's why I was kind of sticking to Dow Jones this week more often, just because on the Dow Jones we saw such an exaggerated pull-off, and I knew that it was exaggerated. There was no big reason why the market was selling off. Of course, Delta variant on COVID-19 or whatever doesn't really matter in my opinion. I want something to be very kind of fundamental behind it, and nothing really was fundamental behind that move. So for me, I like trading. I like the idea of trading Dow more often because we saw such an exaggerated, just basically drop. I knew that it could recover literally the same power, the same kind of action that we saw on last week. And essentially, that's what we did. It was kind of slow. It wasn't as massive as it was. It took its time, but I mean, essentially, like you could see how it just bounced all the way back up. So, I mean, yeah, looking at the daily chart, just quick bounce off that 50 and just went all the way up. So right now, I mean, with these indices right now, it's I see a lot of moves happening during the kind of, I would say, Asian session, even though there's no kind of Asian session on indices. But essentially during like the more early mornings, around 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., I've been seeing a lot of moves. So I essentially like those moves are basically the best of the day, and then later on when the market opens, it just gets choppy. Like today, you can see how kind of it's just kind of ranging right now, right? So essentially, it's been getting a little bit harder to trade indices on the market open, and that's kind of just, I would say, just it's normal because it's the summer, right? You're gonna see that if it's in the summer. Summer trading is just, in my opinion, just a little bit harder than regular just trading in the winter or whatever, or fall, because again, everything is just very low volatility. We're not gonna see a lot of insane moves, and you're gonna see more choppiness, more ranging bound markets, right? Right now with JBP pairs, Great British Pound pairs, right now we're seeing some volatility on that from what I've been seeing the last couple of days. And that's probably because of the Delta variant. Britain is looking to shut down the economy again, or shut down and go on a lockdown again. So that's offering a lot of volatility on the currency pairs, on Great British Pound. But other than that, this regarding yesterday, this last week's drop, we haven't been seeing a lot of volatility, a lot of big volatility. So for me, I've been just kind of, haven't been trading with big risk anymore. because you know, we haven't been seeing a lot of a lot of volatility on our side. Disregarding again, like, you know, yesterday's move and, you know, last week's move and this week's move. But I mean, it is clean. Like, looking at the price action on Dow, that's why I was, you know, I was looking at the Dow Jones more than the Nasdaq today on this week. It's because of the big drop, the exaggerated drop, and it just kind of came back up nicely on that. The Nasdaq right now, same thing. We saw like a recovery. We actually gained a little bit more after that big drop on Nasdaq, which is pretty interesting. But for me, I didn't trade the Nasdaq that much this week. But again, this week wasn't really clean. I mean, we did see like you know, a reversal on Dow, but it wasn't really clean. You could see how just it gets a little bit choppy here, comes up, just, you know, not very clean. You know, on this move on the market open on I believe it was what, 20th. I think that was like yeah, Tuesday. You can see how it just, you know, we saw that volatility spike right there. So on Tuesday's kind of price action was a bit cleaner on the market open, but other than that, not really. Yesterday, you know, it's still climbing higher, but not very clean price action. I mean, it's still bouncing off these levels. You can still take entries off these levels, right? But for me, what I was seeing is a little bit more choppiness, and, you know, with that, you have to be careful with that, because, you know, you might get stopped out because of the choppiness on a certain area. Man, I'm sick.
Sometimes you can base out and hold a level like 5, which I'm not sure it's going to. It did. I think it has a chance to maybe do one of those 130 runs, but that kind of a rollover off of the open is never a good sign for one of these gappers. So A-Core for now is going to be in the short side of the trade. Is that right?
The trade desk guys having a nice day here. 10%.
So yeah, the Nasdaq right now, you can see kind of that reversal.
There were a couple of analysts resuming.
For me, I just thought it was a little bit choppy this week.
I just checked. It's actually August 4th for earnings for TPP.
August 4th. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I love the trade desk. I mean, I love.
But I mean, you can still, there's plenty of entries to take on the Nasdaq. You know, just, you know, a lot of good entries. Just bounces right over here, bounce right over here, bounce right over here, bounce right over here, bounces here. So I mean, there are a lot of entries on the Nasdaq, right? But for right now, I'm not looking at anything specifically on these indices, because now we're basically back to the mean reversal. So we had a mean reversion on the indices, so we're back toward the mean. So I'm not really looking for anything specifically anymore, because the market can do literally anything it wants. So I mean, I'm not really sure right now. I was expecting maybe to drop for the indices to drop a little bit more after reaching like the previous highs, but we haven't been seeing that. Maybe we'll drop later today. We'll see. I don't know. I just think that these indices have something more to go, more to drop, in my opinion. But we'll see. I think it's not. If it's not going to drop today, it's probably going to drop next month on August, closer to fall in September. That's what I have in my. That's what I think, in my opinion, because again, these indices are just high valued right now. Just seeing the market right now, just even seeing yesterday's, last week's drop, seeing how we recover them that really quick. It's just, you know, the investors are still trying to buy the dip, and there's still hope. Like, they think that, you know, oh, just because the economy is slowing down, you know, it doesn't really matter, because, you know, the stock market will always go up, right? So we did see some fears last week whenever we saw the drop. People were thinking, oh my god, the stock market is going to crash. And, you know, it didn't. You know, we weren't even close to a crash. We weren't even close for a correction either. You know, like, from the move from yesterday, I mean, from the drop, we had like, what, 3% of a drop? That's nothing. That's literally nothing compared to, you know, corrections like 10%, right? This is only 3.6% on the Nasdaq. So, I mean, for it to correct, we'll probably have to go all the way down. Yeah, probably back to the 200 EMA right over here. for a correction. But right now I haven't for my like personal funds for my investments or whatever. I haven't really been trading a lot, to be honest. I did try doing some of the dip trades on EWW and Dow and XOE.
Now I can actually say to look and get personal. I'm sitting on the bid when it's like it gives me that gift, so I'll scout the shares out and we're able to get them.
So excuse me. So I did buy some XOE options right over here.
Because of this. Double top,
not right over there, excuse me.
Short the pop, short the breakdown, right? So that setup is on a 15-minute chart here. It's going to make me favor shorting the pop. So once we're able to find a level, we're going to try and take advantage of it and do it right.
So I bought some options on ATR. So as soon as it broke ATR on XOE, I took some longs right there, and I managed to get a little bit more than 1 R on that, right? And then basically yesterday we kind of saw a sell-off on the market open, and then a nice recovery. On the nice recovery, I basically just got out on the recovery right there. So I took some option calls on that. Just basically took my stop as 1 ATR, which is an average true range of that specific stock. Well, this is not a stock. This is an index. But you know, I used 1 ATR for my stop, and you know, it did recover nicely. Went to the 200 EMA, but I was just seeing a lot of weakness on XOE, on basically the S&P energy sector. So I didn't like that. I also took a trade on Dow, which on Dow was a little bit more cleaner. Dow is part of the Dow 30 stocks. So yeah, I took a stop. An entry yesterday. I mean, on the market open on market close for Monday, and yeah, I mean it was a little bit choppy on, I believe it was Tuesday. Yeah, on Tuesday's open, right? Because we saw kind of you know, kind of a push up and then just kind of a consolidation toward the downside again. But essentially, you know, we gapped up on you know, the next day on Wednesday. We gapped up, made a little highs. Yesterday on Thursday, we saw kind of a little bit choppiness. We gapped all the way down, but we did see a very nice kind of very nice price action from the open on Dow. So I'm still in this trade right now. I still have some option calls on it. We'll see what we do today. I mean, since we're essentially on the top right now on Dow Jones and Nasdaq, it may be a good time for me to close it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll take a look at it. Nasdaq right now is trying to push up. But yeah, maybe I'll come up with in the future maybe an option course, because I think options can be very profitable if you know how to do them right, if you know the proper setups on these stocks. So yeah, I'm getting into more stocks as I'm kind of investing more into just kind of like into that specific market. Essentially because of my fund, I want to focus a little bit more on stock market and just basically different systems for the stock market.
Making sure you're patient, you know, making sure that you find the best setup, making sure you trade making sure you do things like that, right? I mean, and I just said that here's a trade that I want to put on short AMC. So, I mean, now you're in the money, 40, 50 cents, bang, bang. Like, we'll take that to the bank, right? So these are some plays that you have to sort of, like, understand that in order to make money in this game, sometimes you have to be a little bit patient and wait, not just for your setups, but, you know, for names to come in. And if your trades aren't there, you don't need to force them. I've already hit my daily goal today. We're already perfect. I mean, I lost 80 cents on this Facebook trade that's now in the money. Okay? You're just crushing AMC right now to the downside. I don't like to say that because I know a lot of you guys are short or long. So
VIX is down today. VIX is basically volatility index.
When you're taking these wins on Snapchat, you're confident about the trade, and you're putting
Man, my voice does not feel good today.
real money, then I mean, I don't really know. You know, we're not going to sit here and force trades. If we see the trades, obviously we'll take them. I mean, that's what we're here.
A little bit nice recovery on EWW. Basically the Mexico ETF.
Like, this is a big trade. AMC's a big trade here. So, I mean, I'm really happy with the day. We don't show our P&Ls, but believe me, if we did...
So, I mean, on yesterday's drop, I mean, last week's drop, I mean, it was pretty, there's pretty good plays because I knew the investors were probably just going to buy the dip off that level. That's exactly what we saw this whole week.
Nick Dub, MDGS, and again, like this is one of those. Sean just sort of nailed it there. Like there's probably a few more symbols that we're going to be missing today, and I always say, do not get too.
Boeing had like a very nice recovery right over here. So did McDonald's. So these kind of large caps saw very nice recovery. Intel is down today. I know we have earning reports today. I wonder why it's down.
It's already failed once, shy of 250, but it's still looking like it's relatively strong. Although you get this test here, I'm trying to put in a lower high.
Split on the chip. I'll look in doubt. Yeah, so we had our earnings report. Intel Corporation, Data Center Group, revenue 0.6.5 billion, down 9%.
It's not really doing a heck of a lot. So, by the way, Socket, on earnings, still holding pre-market low, still holding...
GAAP revenue down 0.6 billion, flat year over year. So it's GAAP revenue not $77.6 billion.
But the longer this hangs out here without breaking down...
So yeah, I'm day trading basically just futures right now. A little bit more than Forex, and then I think I'm gonna start investing more into like stocks. And for investment purposes as well as kind of swing trade purposes as well. And I'm also trying to essentially create like a bot, so it could, you know, basically an algorithm that can detect specific movement in the market for different market scenarios, and then just basically automatically buying specific stocks that fit my criteria. That's why I planned.
Probably worth it. I'll check that one out just to see that ridiculous size reserve for some stuff with a mock. That's been free money all week.
Look, and again, I just want to go back, like, thank you so much for all the love. Like, ever since I just went on that little rant there, it's just been crazy. And it's not that I'm going, like, I mean, these haters are what they are. I don't even think they're haters. It's just a matter of teaching, trying to get people to understand, you know, why.
Yeah, so until we're down right now, we're down to $55.
Like, what I'm doing here on the show, like, I'm probably the most chilled out, like, trader, like, of all time. So don't think that, you know, what we're doing on the show.
Looking at the daily, that 800 EM is essentially a really good level. You can see on previous price action, just looking at the Dow. Right, looking at the the Intel. You know, we from August 2003 to August 2011. We're kind of ranging, but essentially from there, we were bouncing very nicely on that level on the 800 EMA on the 1 daily chart. So it's pretty nice on that. So it could be kind of a little good kind of swing trade idea. Trading these bounces off the 800 EMA, which you can see like on previous kind of days, how it you know, these bounces right over here, gapped all the way down, kind of ranging on this level, and then came up, ranging, came up. So I mean, it could be a very kind of dip trade. I wouldn't kind of hold it back toward the high. I'll probably just hold it for about maybe $5, about one buck of risk for my ATR, and then just basically right up to about 56, or back to 58 right over here. That's what I would
Every single day we've been able to big size seller on Moxie.
That's what I would trade it on. So we'll see if we come down toward that level. But for me on Intel, I'll probably just take a dip trade. On that. All right, Nasdaq. Looks like we're trying to come back up. MACD still back in the sell zone. So is the TDI, RSI, and TL. I don't know. Today looks like kind of just a little bit kind of ranging day. So I may not take any trades today. I mean, essentially, I already took a trade on yesterday. I mean, technically today, because it was past midnight whenever I took that trade on Bitcoin. So I'm not really looking for anything else today. Dow 30, we're kind of coming back toward the 50 EMA. So I mean, it could be kind of a good dip trade, right? But I wouldn't buy that dip unless I see my setup. And I mean, looking at comparing the liquid 50, right? The TDI. So if we go to the Nasdaq 100, 50-minute chart. So just comparing the TDIs right over here. You know, you tell me which one is better, right? Now, I mean, the RSI is now like fucking coming all the way down, but for me, I like the Dow 30 more. Now, I mean, we are a little bit overbought here, right? But I mean, with the liquid 50 just kind of still being up in this kind of general buy zone, that's what I'm more comfortable with, because I know the momentum has been building toward the upside, right? So, you know, the buyers are looking for basically essentially buys on the Dow 30. So I mean, we'll still look at it. We'll still take a look at it. Nasdaq 100 though, I mean, it's just choppy right now, so I'm not really looking for anything because it's kind of been ranging today, as you can see here. So I mean, I don't know. We'll probably see later today and see what kind of move happens on the Nasdaq. And for me, I mean, I like dip trades. I like whenever indices kind of drop down in the mornings, because usually in the afternoons there'll be very kind of good kind of dip trades, especially coming toward levels like the 50 EMA or the 200 EMA. I like taking trades like those. Those are pretty much my favorite trades, just taking dip trades on after like the market open. I don't see any good setups.
scored earlier. I took it off, and clearly that was a weak decision. Soccer was basically getting everything back. Lost up to 850.
Okay, so just to give you guys an update, man, I was 70% of this evening trade. As left at the 67, things like that. So again, if you're trading this with
Interesting.
shares, you can make some real money. So let's wait to see where this goes from here. But we are, but we didn't get. I was trying to offer it before there again. So it's not good, man. That feels like someone smashed this thing down. So probably going to the downside. That's why we have to empty out some of these shares when that does happen. There goes Microsoft right now through the highs. So we're going at 288.30 here. Let's see how high this one can go. Where's that click? 50. So again, we can get a piece out at 50. We'll probably stop that out for 20 cents there. And then we'll let the rest ride as NASDAQ looks like it's taking out right now day's high as well. So good on us for finding this name. Gotta get rewarded though. So if we can, I don't know what this click is all about. But we always take some out around the 50 level, even though it's only maybe 20 banks. We'll take it out and we'll see if Microsoft can fly.
Kind of like had a nice div trade on Nasdaq right over here. Kind of interesting how my system kind of caught this. Excuse me, not my system, but a different system that I trade.
Anytime you get these stocks that are small cap or low float runners, cruisers, whatever you might call them, and you get these parabolic moves to the upside, it puts in a double top, and look what happens. If that is about as harsh a sell-off as you're ever going to see. It comes right down into that 21 support, puts in a lower high here today, puts in a lower high here and scalp off of it. So for me, this is more of a, this is coming back down to earth type of trade. So momentum is going to the downside, because there are people that would have had this at like $5 or would have bought the close and held it, so they're long in like 10 or 11, or would have bought that breakout at like 13 or 12, maybe something that was on. Game was crazy. Like, no, 12, 60 something. Anyways, people that have that long that are holding it. And to me, if you're holding a 10 long, a 12 long, a 5 long, and 21 strikes break, and you've just given up 39, yeah, that FOMO causes panic to get out of levels like this. But that's kind of why I want to be getting into the short side of the Euro thing in 21. Kind of getting in the head of who these dollars those prices. And I think it's not bag holders, but people, I want to take profit. Well, there probably are some bag holders in these levels of 27, 28. And that's 40% of the downside from 21. So all those things on my mind, that's what I'm going to say.
Checking at the all-time highs, SKX here in New York, just popping back some pre-market resistance, 54.5, up to a 55, which is a level after the yesterday. Another earnings day.
Yeah, Skechers, a good name there. We talked about that a couple times before. Yeah, look out for Skechers. They're always, this is going to be a long-time stock, surprisingly not enough about that one. Okay, so Microsoft right back to where we're again. It does touch that $1,045 there, so that trade will come through the Microsoft. Trade will be down to 338.37, so I'm not going to hold this one forever at all for MSFP. So it just comes back down to the NASDAQ now fading out. So that's a name that we have to try to avoid if we can here. We're not deep into it. I'm looking to average in again on this thing. So you know what? Okay, so we're just bouncing down to these low sides. So let's try. Let's knock it out at 388, right? We're trying to get a little bit more in. If it does break, snap down, we'll average in it around this 37. Something like this we all have to have. 287, 75, 66 on Softy. Let's see if that can hold out for us. And we're about getting out there. That EDU, we'll see if we can go back to the upside. Trying to hold out for this one on a nice little move up. So if that can come through,
I have these indices dropping today. For some reason, I'll see. We'll see what we do here.
And by that I mean 1 billion, and probably already 300 million shares, or 150 of that was nothing. So EDU and TAL continue to do numbers. And then unfortunately, something gets caught in the crosshairs here of New York and of Chinese names that is listed here in New York. Probably don't deserve to get these balances.
like an emerging dragon here, but I'm not taking it. Yeah, so I have these indices dropping today. So I have the Nasdaq, the Qs, the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones. As well as the as well as the S&P. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what we do here. Maybe we'll take us. I mean, the only sells that I would take is probably just a collapsing dragon. But of course, we do have divergence here. But I mean, you have to be careful whenever you're trying to. I mean, it is Friday, so anything can happen. But you still have to be careful whenever you're trying to look to short these indices. So maybe I'll take it kind of like a trade off here, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't really have to trade today. I'm only going to trade unless I see something really interesting. This week's has been a little bit tricky on these indices whenever you're trying to trade a move. Whenever the market's a little bit kind of arranging or choppy for that day, right? So, yeah, I'm just gonna be careful today. I'm not really gonna try looking to trade something really just aggressively or whatever. I'm also looking for GJ shorts, but I don't think that's going to happen today. It's probably going to happen next week. I'm looking to take GJ short back all the way down toward back toward 148.737. I mean, probably around the 148 500s. But I'm not going to see anything today of GJ. These are still trying to go up, so I think if it breaks over the 200, it'll probably just continue going higher. For right now, not really any setups that I'm interested in. Maybe I'll trade Bitcoin later in the weekend, maybe, if I see a good setup. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Even though we may go down today, we're probably just gonna chop around. We're not probably gonna continue going higher. Probably just gonna chop around and then I don't know. Since we're at the highs right now, I can see it. I can see a scenario where we come down today, where we see a sell-off. I think that scenario is likely, right? So yeah, we'll see. If I don't take a short, I'm probably just gonna take a long at this level right over here. If it comes all the way back down there. But other than that, that's pretty much it. The Nasdaq looks like it's trying to continue going higher right now. But I don't see any setups on the on the Nasdaq today. At least for right now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go see, and I do have that Intel trade. If Intel tries to come all the way down today, then I may take just an Intel trade. On kind of a dip trade on Intel, which I mean I think that could be likely. Yeah, I think that's very likely. We're about less than 40 cents away for the level, so I think that's likely. I like that scenario. Alright, but that's pretty much it, guys. I know the Nasdaq is trying to come back higher, which is quite interesting. So, I mean, we may continue going back toward the high. Looking at the Nasdaq looks like it's stronger right now than the Dow and S&P. But there's no setups for me here on the. I mean, I could take an emerging dragon on Nasdaq. But I mean, there's no reason for me to trade something if I'm not really sure about the direction. Yeah, because I'm already up for the week about like 3%. And looking at today's kind of price action on these indices, it just makes me a little bit careful. So I know I'm not, I'm not gonna try looking for any, intensive action or try to be aggressive on it. It looks like the Dow is trying to come back down. So it could be a good short. Excuse me. Could be a good short coming right there. Kind of a level one reset toward the short side. Excuse me. Yeah, so this is a level off my off my system. The only thing that I would say is if I'm taking if I was taking this short, I'll just be careful of price action trying to form divergence there, which I don't think it will, unless we get a little bit oversold today. Yeah, it doesn't look like it will. It doesn't look like it may form divergence here. But just to be a little bit careful, you may just try taking the break with the 800 EMA right over here. Yeah, so we'll see if this continues going down. I would just say being careful that it may form divergence. That's the only thing that I would say on the Dow Jones. That's pretty much it. that's pretty much it for today's stream. I'm not really looking for anything else today, other than maybe potential setups as the market kind of tries to sell off today. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Direct message me on Instagram if you guys have any questions. And